I want to read you what you said, make sure I'm accurate. Here's what you said. President Trump is not like any sane leader. I'm very proud of General Milley for saying that President Trump is a total fascist. To Bob Woodward, if he, as chairman of the Joint Chiefs, is calling the president a fascist, I'm so proud of him for breaking that barrier. The challenge is because most MAGA Republicans, they don't understand what fascism is. The reality is that they are, in fact, fascists themselves. You think you're smarter than the American people, don't you?
Absolutely not, Senator. I am here to discuss the use of the military as part of this mass deportation.
You think you're more virtuous than the American people, don't you, General?
Senator, I am insulted by your comment.
Duty, honor, and respect. You talked about that in your opening statement, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Moran said, I wrote down her words. She said, by their actions, you know what someone's character is like. You agree with that?
Senator, for 35 years, I served my country with absolute honor and distinction, and I will continue to do so.
You agree with what Ms. Moran said?
Of course.
Welcome back to Founding Voice America, the voice of the people, the voice of liberty, the voice of truth. If you believe in borders, if you believe in law, if you believe this nation is worth saving, you're in the right place. Now today, we've got something to talk about, and I mean really talk about. I just finished watching this Senate hearing where Senator John Kennedy, God bless him, absolutely torched the left's open border narrative. What I witnessed wasn't just a political exchange. It was a real-time exposure of the rot in our immigration system and the arrogant elites who think they know better than the rest of us. So buckle up, Patriots, because we're diving headfirst into this flaming dumpster fire of a border crisis, and we're going to say the things the mainstream media's too cowardly to say. Let's get one thing clear. The southern border is not broken by accident. It's broken on purpose. Senator Kennedy called it an open, bleeding wound. And he's absolutely right. This isn't a leak, it's a floodgate. And it didn't break, they opened it. And who is they, you ask? Joe Biden. His handlers. The radical left. The open borders globalists who have decided that American sovereignty is just too privileged to preserve. For the last 4 years, we've seen policies that don't just ignore illegal immigration, they invite it. We've watched sanctuary cities erupt in chaos, our border patrol overwhelmed, and our legal immigration process, the system that rewards patience and respect for the law, be spit on and replaced by catch and release. You've got illegals pouring into our nation while law-abiding immigrants, who spent years doing things the right way, are told to wait. Senator Kennedy said it perfectly. If you wait in line under Biden's regime, you're a chump. And it's true.
Thanks, Senator Klobuchar. Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Arthur, you are with the Center for Immigration Studies, is that right?
That's correct, Senator.
And that's a nonpartisan think tank, is it?
It is, sir.
Okay. The border is an open, bleeding wound, isn't it?
That's a fair way to characterize what's been going on for the last 4 years, sir.
The southern border is chaotic by design, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I've been covering the border for 3 decades, and yeah, it's pretty chaotic.
Would it be fair to say that the broken southern border is man-made?
It would be fair to say that, sir, based on policies that have been implemented.
And that man's name is Joe Biden, isn't it?
That would be a fair assessment, yes, Senator.
Under President Biden, if you wait in line for legal immigration, you're a chump, aren't you?
When you look at the benefits that have been given to people and the speed at which they've been released into the United States, I would be chagrined if I were waiting.
You're a
for years.
chump, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
General,
Yes,
you
sir.
believe in open borders, don't you?
I believe in the rule of law, sir.
Right. And it makes you angry that President Trump does not believe in open borders, doesn't it?
Senator, I'm not here to discuss immigration policy. I'm here to discuss whether or not we use the military to enforce it.
And it makes you angry that most Americans don't believe in open borders, doesn't it?
Not in the slightest, sir. Again, I am not here to discuss the immigration policy.
Yeah. Duty, honor, respect, you talked about that
Yes,
in
Senator.
your opening statement. On October 14th of this year, you went on CNN. I want to read you what you said, make sure I'm accurate. Here's what you said. President Trump is not like any sane leader. I'm very proud of General Milley for saying that President Trump is a total fascist. To Bob Woodward, if he, as chairman of the Joint Chiefs, is calling the president a fascist, I'm so proud of him for breaking that barrier. The challenge is because most MAGA Republicans, they don't understand what fascism is. The reality is that they are, in fact, fascists themselves. Did I read that accurately?
Senator, I am happy to discuss my personal perspectives with you separately at any time. That's not the purpose of the hearing today.
Did I read that accurately?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. You think you're smarter than the American people, don't you?
Absolutely not, Senator. I am here to discuss the use of the military as part of this mass deportation.
You think you're more virtuous than the American people, don't you, General?
Senator, I am insulted by your comment.
Duty, honor, and respect. You talked about that in your opening statement, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Moran said, I wrote down her words. She said, by their actions, you know what someone's character is like. You agree with that?
Senator, for 35 years, I served my country with absolute honor and distinction, and I will continue to do so.
You agree with what Ms. Moran said?
Of course.
Mr., I've got a few minutes left.
23 seconds.
Well, actually, you let Ms. Klobuchar go well over, so I'm assuming you'll extend me the
I'll
same.
give you the
courtesy.
same minute I gave to her.
You gave it a minute 20. I timed it.
You're using.
I watched you
using
like a hawk, Dick. Mr. Melnick, Mr. Reichlin Melnick, you believe in open borders too, don't you?
I do not, Mr. Kennedy.
Okay. On November 1st, 2022, you tweeted, both Texas and Louisiana have their knives out for black immigrants. Do you remember that tweet?
I don't, but it's quite possible.
What Texans, it's not only possible, it happened. You're not denying it, are you?
No, I'm saying, referring
What
to the
Texans?
context.
Who are
I
you
actually
talking
don't
to?
know the
Who
context.
are you talking to about who in Texas had their knives out for black immigrants?
Guessing the context, but my suspicion is
Give
that
me
it
a
has to
name.
do the
Give me a
Attorney
name.
General Ken Paxton and
Give
the
me a
Attorney
name.
General of
Give me a name.
Louisiana. I just did.
You don't have a name, do you?
I just said Ken Paxton.
You don't have a name, do you? You just said it, didn't you?
Just said Ken Paxton.
All right, how about Louisiana? You said Louisiana has its knives out for black immigrants. Who in Louisiana were you talking about?
Again, I'm not certain that was 2 years ago, and as I'm sure you know, much has happened in the last 2 years.
Well, did you say it?
Again, I do not remember the context,
But you don't,
Senator
you
Kennedy.
said somebody had their knives out from Louisiana for black immigrants, but you don't know who they were? You just said it?
I said the Attorney General of Louisiana and Texas, and I believe this referred to specifically lawsuits brought and arguments that were made in court that the arrival of Haitians
I'm out
and
of time,
others
but I
were
want to get you
inherently
on the
dangerous,
record.
which was
You
not.
Thank you very much, Senator.
believe
Appreciate
that the
your
Attorney
questions.
General at that time of Louisiana had his knives out for black immigrants. That's your testimony.
Given their
Thank you,
litigation
Senator Kennedy.
conduct, yes.
Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now let's talk about accountability. Because the left loves to play dumb and act like this is some unfortunate issue we all just have to figure out together. No. This is a man-made crisis. And that man's name is Joe Biden. You don't get a border this open by accident. You don't end construction on a border wall, reinstate, catch and release, hand out hotel rooms, bus tickets, and court dates 2 years out by accident. You do that on purpose. And what's the purpose? Votes. Power. Control. The more people they can usher in, the more chaos they can unleash, the more strain they can put on our systems, the more they can justify expanding government, erasing our values, and turning this country into a globalist wasteland. What was really telling in this hearing was how one of the generals testifying just couldn't bring himself to stand for the rule of law without waffling. Now remember, this wasn't a nobody. This was a military man. Someone who's supposed to stand for duty, honor, and country. And when asked straight up, do you believe in open borders? He dodged. He dodged because he knows the leftist mob would come after him if he said the truth. And then it got worse. Senator Kennedy read back a quote where this general went on national television and called President Trump a fascist. Let that sink in. A man entrusted with military leadership, supposedly nonpartisan, calling a sitting president a fascist. And not just that, he went on to say that MAGA Republicans are fascists, too. Excuse me. Let me be clear, if believing in secure borders, a strong economy, parental rights, and freedom makes you a fascist, then count me in. But let's not pretend this is anything other than left-wing projection. They call us fascists while they censor speech, criminalize dissent, and weaponize every branch of government against political opponents. They don't hate fascism. They hate competition. They hate Americans who stand up and say, no, you don't get to dismantle our country just because you're offended by it. The moment that really made my blood boil, and it should make yours, too, was when Kennedy said to this general, you think you're smarter than the American people, don't you? And that's the question at the heart of all of this. The DC elite, the think tankers, the media hacks, the bureaucrats, the leftist military brass, they don't just disagree with you. They look down on you. They think they know better. They think you're dumb, backwards, racist, and irrelevant. They think they can gaslight you, lie to you, and distract you with pride flags and TikTok videos while your country is flooded, your streets turn violent, and your kids grow up in a nation that doesn't even resemble the one you were born into. Well, guess what? We're not buying it. We see through it. And we're not afraid to call it out anymore. And if you needed one last piece of evidence that this is all about division and control, look no further than Mr. Melnick, another witness in the hearing. Back in 2022, he tweeted that Texas and Louisiana have their knives out for black immigrants. That's not just irresponsible, it's race-baiting garbage. And when Senator Kennedy asked him who exactly had their knives out, Melnick couldn't even name anyone, until he muttered something about Ken Paxton and lawsuits over Haitian migrants. So let's break this down. This guy made a wild, race-charged accusation, couldn't back it up with facts, and instead threw mud to score political points. That is the left's playbook in a nutshell. They don't argue. They don't debate. They smear, accuse, and distract. They tell you border enforcement is racist, walls are racist, ICE is racist, citizenship is racist, until there's nothing left to protect. Nothing left to conserve. They are not pro-immigrant. They are anti-America. Patriots, I'm not saying any of this because it's comfortable. I'm saying it because it's true. And it's time we start acting like it. The border crisis isn't just a policy failure. It's a betrayal of the American people. Joe Biden and the radical left are deliberately trying to erase our sovereignty, rewrite our values, and silence every voice that dares to stand up and say, enough. So what do? We speak louder. We get smarter. We organize. We hold the line. We support real leaders like Senator Kennedy who aren't afraid to name names and call the enemy what it is. We reject the gaslighting. We reject the guilt. And we stand unapologetically for God, country, and Constitution. This is our country, not theirs. And we're not giving it up without a fight. If you believe in borders, in law, in freedom, and in truth, hit that like button, subscribe to Founding Voice America, and share this video with someone who's still on the fence. Let them hear the truth they'll never get from CNN or the White House press room. This is Founding Voice America, and we're just getting started.